Welcome to Can Women Save Religion? This week's episode of the Faith and Friction podcast. Join Mac and his co-host, The Rev, as they welcome ministerial candidate Amanda Adamson, a mentee of The Rev, to discuss how women won't necessarily save religion, but will help foster a shift from male-dominated hierarchical models toward a new energetic balance of transformation. Welcome to the conversation.
All right, one more time, Rev. Faith, and we got double friction tonight, don't
let's
we?
say triple friction.
Triple friction.
Too.
Oh, man, this is going to be so fun tonight.
I'm very excited about what we're doing tonight.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. We have a guest with us. Be ready for that, folks, because she's tough. She's going to be a lot of fun, but I want you to introduce her, okay?
One of the gifts of my job as a minister is I get to mentor other people who are moving into the ministry. And Amanda Adamson is my current mentee, and I tell you, she's brilliant, she's smart, and that's why I asked you, Mac, can we invite her onto the podcast? She's shadowing me today, and I said, oh, yes, she can keep pace with four of us. So I'm delighted to welcome a ministerial candidate, Amanda Adamson, to the microphone tonight.
And I am very excited to be here. And as I told you earlier, be gentle. This is my first time. I've never done a podcast, and I like the rhythm. And I listened to one of your podcasts before, and I go, that looks like fun.
And you said yes anyway.
I said yes anyway.
That happened.
Yeah.
We must be doing something
But
right.
it's been a conversation that we've had for a while now, is that two white guys of a certain age, there's one perspective. And one of the intentions of the podcast is to invite other perspectives of people who are looking at everything we talk about from a different way. I love that.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're really glad to have you. It's going to be one thing. You already mentioned the word, but what we do is we have fun. Okay. So
I have a PhD in that.
If it ain't fun, I don't want to do it.
Welcome to the fun. All right. There's fun and friction as well. You know what?
Taught me that, my friend, because I spent a lifetime running from any friction or tension of any kind. And I realized that it kept me stagnant.
Yeah.
So let's play. Let's go into the playground of God called Leela from the Hindu perspective.
All right. There we are. We're going to strap in, right? I always say that anyway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, strap it. So here we are. Here is the question for this episode. Here it is. Can women save religion?
And the crowd went to a hush.
Oh, there's a biggie, right? Can women save religion? What are we thinking about that? What does that even mean? What's the connotation? Because I know there's been some conversation about this already. So is this
it's at the forefront with some of the decisions being made by religious organizations. It's at the forefront. Maybe take it a different way, but I want to defer to the woman in the room to get her opinion.
What do you think about that?
I don't think women are going to save religion, even though we are the vast majority. Women and children make up a lot of the numbers. You look at any singles group, there's probably 2 guys and 30 women. And
ask any rest home. New man comes into the rest home, they're like, fresh meat.
All these guys, this balance, don't we?
But what possibly can help is, and a lot of what we've discussed before, is moving from that masculine, male-dominated paradigm of leadership within the church and becoming more into collectively and individually, and also as women, that doesn't mean it comes natural to us, into the receptive mode, into the mode of change and evolution, rather than being stuck in a staid system that's not working or attracting people any longer. Because people are wising up. Guess what? They're not believing that being long-suffering is going to be rewarded in the sweet by and by. People want to know how to live their lives here and now. And if we move into the feminine, I think we'll get a lot more answers.
Well, what I hear you saying is there's a call for balance. It's not that women are going to save the religion. No. And the question was begged there, does religion need saving? But are we going to create a more balanced system that will support and help the religion of the future?
I think you also have to ask the question, all right, the why. We were talking about this in the pre-show. What value does religion even have, whether it's imbalanced, out of balance, and why is it there?
It's community. It's a sense of belonging. You're the new salesman for the Hoover vacuumins. Where are you going to get to your customers? You need to join the First Baptist Church. And there you are. It has always served that and social justice movements, especially the Black community, has been a big part of bringing people together in a sense of
Has
community.
that why shifted over time? I believe it has. Yeah, the moral compass, if you go back far enough in history, it was a necessary component to what was right and what was wrong, what was good and what was holy and sacred and not. And I think community is where it has evolved to. It gives us a safe place, I hope a safe place. And maybe that's why we need women more in religion, because it has not become a safe place. As an organization, as organizations ruled by a masculine mindset, it has not become safe. It's why people are leaving churches in droves.
And I was going to bring this up. I was raised in the Southern Baptist Church in Louisiana. It doesn't get any more. And we were in church every time the doors were open. That's my community. But I could have been a missionary, and I thought about it till I saw that Sally Struthers commercial with the children, Save the Children, and there's a lot of flies, and I'm thinking, I don't want to do that.
That's not me. Okay.
But I think I played church with my stuffed animals and dogs, but that would not have been an option for me at all.
Wow.
Women cannot be lead pastors.
Correct.
And they're not given much power or influence unless it has to do with food and children within that community.
There's the patriarchal system that's been around forever. And I want to acknowledge right up front, has the world right up to this moment and even today, has it been in general a male-dominated society? And I don't care whether it's America or just in general, have cultures been driven by males in their perspective?
Quick answer. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, it has. And that's just history. That's not a judgment. That's
just is what it is.
History.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's important that those who don't look at the history are bound to repeat it. And where did it get us? It's gotten in bed with politics to a great degree, and it's running our nation and our country as we see it today. So is it about saving it or just bringing the pendulum back into a place of balance where we allow every voice to be heard? And I think this is exactly what Jesus did. Every voice matters. And again, the males took over and then wrote the women out of the Gospels, wrote those people that were equally important disciples and apostles underneath his tutelage, even the ones that were bankrolling. Oh, let's just put them aside and rewrite them.
Yes.
The question, I think, is, what is the divine masculine, or what are
mamas?
Yes, she had several. Don't tell King Herod. But the reality is, what are we afraid of? What is the divine masculine or the male leadership in religion afraid of to allow that other voice in?
Losing power.
Great question.
Losing power.
Power. All right.
Oh, absolutely. It still might makes right. It really is. It's just, and look at the combination of religion and politics and war, and how many wars have been fought in the name of religion. And
my God
so
can beat up your God.
Yes, it's a very aggressive.
For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can say it's on the hydrant of religion.
Yeah. You have the freedom. Go ahead.
Yes.
Here's the thing about, I think, all of it in a nutshell. Yes, it's existed and it's functioned well or not well throughout history. But I think what I heard you say, Amanda, was that it's not working anymore. We've evolved to a place that just says that's no longer tenable. We can't continue to keep operating under that way of doing things and be sustainable. And you know what? To me, it's more than even just sustainable. Will it be around? We need to look at it. Can we thrive? Is it something that's really affecting lives positively, not just being there?
That's about the question. Does religion even need to be saved?
Yeah.
Or does it need to implode? Does it need to devolve to the place where it can be reborn? The phoenix needs to be consumed in the fire so something more beautiful, balanced, and holy can emerge.
And that's my thought. The phoenix rises from the ashes. And I'm thinking, we don't even want the ashes, do we? We want the symbolism. We want the mystery. We want the beauty and the very humanness that a lot of the Church of Humanity represents. But we don't want the hierarchy. What we're called to do is to operate from our higher consciousness, each of us individually, and within our community. That's what we do. We're empowering.
So you're preaching my sermon as it is. All roads lead to what's going on the inside of me and the brain and the heart of humanity. So that which I might label as a problem with religion and the world right now, I've got to take the time to self-reflect. Where is that out of balance within me? Because I am of no value or good to the world if I'm out of imbalance. I'm imbalanced and I'm pushing my way and shoving my way through strength and might to make the world a better place. And I've not channeled my own inner divine feminine. Something needs to be healed first within me.
I think we also have to deal with the issue that says, why is it hard? Why is there friction in making this shift as we're moving?
What are we afraid of?
What got us to this point? And so we don't want to leave out the fact that for millennia, almost since the very beginning, but we're really kind of talking about religion and more maybe Christianity, if we really kind of zero it in a little bit. The reason at the core of it is because that's the way God designed it. And so now all of a sudden, when you have that power behind you that justifies the way you structure it, the way that you do it, the paradigm there, wait a minute, this is best because this is the way God ordained
God
it.
didn't CC me on that email. I did not get a copy.
And it starts with stop talking about God in masculine terms. I can read anything that says he, and I can translate.
Sure.
God and James and I can't pronounce this name, agree on this non-binary.
Okay.
Absolutely, both masculine and feminine.
But if I need control, I need to define God in the image of what I look like, the way I think. So we've created God in our image in order to control the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the the aggressor, that we've given him all the characteristics. Her and him. In the Old Testament, God's quite an asshole. He's very destructive and very whimsical. And
I like to go back to the Older Testament. It's not just contained in one book. God was a woman.
Yeah.
The worship of the divine feminine was before men came in and said, we don't like this. We want balance. And unfortunately, in the desire to create balance, went completely to the other side.
Absolutely, because take an overview of the Bible, which we're doing a class tonight, and it's the Jewish nation wanted to differentiate itself from everybody because they were building. And so no pagans, nothing honoring female. They were the original misogynist. Is that the right word? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because they were part of the Women Hated Men Club. And we inherited this. And there's something holy and all of it. Yes.
It's
so
righteous.
Just because we inherit something doesn't mean that it has value today. And that's very short-sighted and unconscious. It's just the way grandma and grandpa did it, so I'm going to do it too. And this podcast is about leaning into the friction to go, maybe not necessarily, we're not going to blame it. We're not going to tear it down. It served at a point, but now let's open up a corner of our mind to a different idea.
And we can do that in certain more liberal theology. But if I were still in the Southern Baptist Church and I dared question Scripture, you're ostracized, you're thrown out, you're made fun of. But we've got this one little wedge of belief systems that believes in raising our consciousness. That's where it's going to begin.
That's the friction.
What do you think, Larry? Because we've been talking back and forth.
Sorry.
Your wisdom is important.
I was worried about having.
We're good. No, I knew that wasn't going to be an issue. First of all, I think a lot of it is grounded in the way we've given the deity a personality. And then once it gets given a personality, the default was a male personality. So now we run our interpretations. How does life? Nobody's worldview is devoid of the spiritual aspect. Whether they believe in God or you don't, your worldview's formed by wherever you land that plane, right? So at the beginning, we have to understand that it all works together, and we have to get rid of some of that. We have to get rid of that personality. And I think once we do, we're open to the new possibilities.
Again, now, your initial question, does religion even need saving? Does it need to implode? Do we need to have the breakdown so a breakthrough can happen? Yes, it does. And I think that's what's happening right now. We're desperately in fear holding on to the old paradigms, but they are eventually going to die. And I'm excited about that.
Instead of having that animal rescue for this animal that's going extinct, let's just let nature take its course. That's how.
Oh, well, that's a different story. I want to save the whales.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
but there's a good point. It's going to be organic,
right,
to a large extent. Now there are going to be, of course, we're just not geared enough to let things just take their course. We want to get in there. We want to manipulate it. We want to make it be what we want it to be.
That's a very masculine trait.
There it
And
is.
it's happening in America today. We've swung so far in one direction of religions that they're saying it out loud now. We don't want women to vote.
Dun, dun, dun. There we are.
Going back to some traditionalist idea that's so extreme, but it is scary that it attracts so many young men, our older men.
And I will channel my inner feminine rather than going, how in the world can you be so stupid and ignorant? The divine feminine would say, I have compassion for the fear that the country, the world is living in, that this is something that could be espoused and embraced. There's fear. And I do believe, so let me love those who are having a different opinion than I do as my part to bring the world back into a place of balance. If I just attack them and fight them and push against that idea, which I do find short-sighted, I'm just adding to the male domination thing. I have to win. I win and you lose.
That's our default, isn't it?
Well, it can be that resistance and force.
Right.
Because it's ludicrous, and we like to think that we're evolving somehow, and sometimes.
Yeah, we like to think that anyway, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
yes.
and
okay.
I have a day like I had yesterday, and then I realized I haven't gotten very far.
You've evolved. Again, we're saving. We gave that a title in the beginning, and I do believe that there are certain things that we need, call it redeemed, call it reclaimed. Great word. All right. There's the word a lot of times now is deconstruction. There's all kinds of these words out there that we're applying to this whole, that was then, this is now kind of scenario. And I think that a large portion of it's going to be two things, that the way the world is right now, people are going to die off, and those paradigms are just going to go away, because that's a natural part. That's an organic part of the way that anything works, is that the old ideas that they're not going to give up. Those people, whoever they are, those cultures, they're not going to give them up. They just forget it. And so now the new one starts to gain traction. And I think the way that those gain traction is in the fruit. Do I buy into the new way this is looking, the new way that this is producing, the way it's affecting culture, the way it's affecting lives? I want some of that. And I think you're going to start to see this it's happen. And it's an organic thing where you just go and be this new way, new paradigms, new ways of acting and being that people are going to be attracted to.
And until I've done the self-inventory first, until I've actually taken stock of my own life and my behaviors and what's happening, I don't really have a right to do that for other people.
Yeah, kind of.
So I can criticize the religions, I can criticize the government, but I better darn have done my own inner work first to go, there is something that needs to die within my belief system.
You know what gives me hope, and I know it's controversial in a lot of things, but this whole idea of non-binary, where we're not going to be a trad wife, and we're not going to be a macho man. We're going to take on what we feel authentically is, whether it's our gender, our job, or what have you. So I kind of digging the new generation. I have a daughter in that, and I'm like, right on, you people are cool.
See, there you go.
Not the millennials, the ones.
They're all people, and they're teaching, and the old dogs are either going, I don't like the new it, or maybe I can learn a new trick.
And this is just going to be a process. It's again, I think you're sensitive in a way that starts to become attractive to people that think differently now, that are coming up in a different place. And if we're not sensitive to that, and we were talking about this in the pre-show, right? If we're not, then it will die from its current form.
So I tell my more conservative religious friends that your religion is going to die. And I believe it has beauty and merit and worth. I don't want it to die. So can we have a conversation and find the balance?
Think that's possible? What do you think?
I do.
Yeah.
I had all these rewords earlier. You said remember and rekindle or something. Repent. The class tonight, repent, in its original translation, had nothing to do with being sorry and being, oh my God, I'm so terrible, I'm awful, I'm a sinner.
Shame.
Repent is about remembering who we truly are. In the original Aramaic language, repent was, you've forgotten who you are. So there's a great remembering happening, and we're just turning back to home. And that's what I think can happen.
I see this, the advancements we've made in science and technology, it's like quadruples every 10 years. But where have we moved in consciousness, in spiritual consciousness, in collective consciousness as a humankind? We're doing a bunch of stuff, right? We're really in the masculine, we're building, we're creating. But the evolution is the evolution of consciousness.
And the divine feminine is there in the consciousness of religions. We talked about the wars.
Yeah, whatever
we
religion.
talked about the wars and the combative, my God can beat up your God, but also religion has done a lot to make the world a kinder place.
Absolutely.
People have been fed. People have been clothed as a result of it. So the divine feminine is not gone. It's there. It's just not given a full voice. Again, so it's not about putting something in the arena that isn't there. It's about remembering it's there and giving it.
And I look at the Catholic Church with all their charities and help they do around the world. And it's like, that's God with skin on. It is. It is action, but it's coming. It is the actions are coming from the compassionate females.
One of the
feminine,
we talked about in the pre-show a little bit was the yin and yang symbol, and it's very clearly defined. Both the dark and the light, the masculine and the feminine is there. And I kind of the idea that you put out there, Mac, about a little more gel-like, a little bit more flowing, a little bit more. It's all at the same time as opposed to now I am channeling the masculine and now I will channel the feminine. It's like they have to be dancing together. And I love that image. I actually want to go somewhere and find an artist who can create that ever-flowing symbol.
That's a Venn diagram. What is it when you have the overlap?
That's Venn.
Yeah, okay. So it's not ever all here and it's not ever all here. It's always a crossover.
There's not a line. It's just not a definitive. We love to think in terms of definitives. I'm in black. I'm in white. There is no middle ground.
But the imbalance, and I talked about this earlier, is I can know personally when I'm too much in the masculine voice. That's when I sound like a bossy bitch after a while. And
three of us were in a meeting earlier today, and I was saying I had to be consciously aware that the masculine qualities are needed now.
Yeah.
And now I need to step back and be more into my heart and my feeling. And I thought it worked fairly well. Nobody killed anybody in the meeting. Got close.
No,
there was some. Yeah.
My heart was racing. That's the reminder. My heart's racing. I need to pay attention to let my head pay attention to what my heart's doing.
Yeah. So where are we? So I guess the question we beg now is saving. Again, saving from what? Maybe, again, from the masculine perspectives, the domination of that thinking, of that culture, of that giving away of the normative. Oh, that's the normative. In culture, we're moving away from that. We have to be saved from that kind of thinking more than anything, right?
And here's the thing, and it's a fascinating thing because in the feminine, there's a thing called the fierce feminine, the warrior. And this is like when the mother, I remember holding my son when he was about three weeks old, and I go, I would kill someone if I tried to hurt my son. And this feeling came over me. I had never had before. I'm like,
the mama bear.
Whoa.
It's like that Stephen Wright joke. I would kill for a Nobel Peace.
But it's also this because we want to protect.
Yes.
It's the protective nature. It's
the divine feminine. It's not weak
fierce.
No,
at all.
It's earthy and strong. And the idea that we're doormats or passive and we're going to let what has been continue to be. And like I said, it's not the same kind of resistance of fighting fire with fire. It's going over and creating a new way.
So if we have, what might this, okay, so let's just say, just for argument's sake, we agree and we believe and we're committed to that saving. How, again, frame it however you want to do that. So
you have to start with it has value.
Okay, absolutely.
Value, so
all right. So what might that look like? What if we're committed to that and we believe, yes, there's a paradigm shift that needs to take place. Yes, there's a cultural shift. Yes, there's a spiritual shift.
It's already happened.
Okay. So what might that, how do we promote it? How do we enter in with it? And how can we see the evidence of it? What might that look like?
In your liner notes, you have some really good points that are already there.
There you go.
Immunity over hierarchy, collaboration, co-creation over my way or the highway. I think that's essential.
Okay. How would co-creation look in that sense then? If we're in a church, let's just say that's a means by which we can help foster this. It can happen in a family. It can happen in a business. It can happen everywhere. But if we might want to talk about religion and faith, what might some of the not only sticking points be, but what could move the needle?
It's women speaking up with authority, and it's women speaking not apologetically, but with authority. Are men who may not be hyper. Well, we're talking masculine, feminine on one level, but the reality is it often funnels into men and women, and women need to get used to that, stepping into those positions of leadership and authority, especially within those other churches. And I'm watching it and the conversation and the dialogue that's going on about female leadership, because that is a very tangible, that is not theory. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking abstract there. And so this is happening. Conversations are happening in anger. And I've gotten a lot on just on different feeds. That friction is there, and it's good and it's healthy, because when we rub against each other's edges, we sharpen each other's edges, and friction makes
iron
fire.
Sharpens iron.
Yes, that's right. And everybody benefits. And it is sometimes it's hard to convince the masculine that there's any benefit.
I like to bring it to personal in my role when I was thrust by happenstance into a leadership role of a church. And I thought I was going to be a really effective leader. And I realized I would do things like this. I want to know what everybody has to think about this. Here's my opinion. And then I would jump in. And then following a Taoist path, I realized that the leader should be the last one to speak. Everybody, because of the environment, the man at the head would offer his opinion. Everyone would just fall in line. That I needed to be conscious enough to be the last one to speak and to be vulnerable and humble enough to let every voice be heard.
All right, so that's how it might look differently. There's a shift, all right? And the pushback there would be what? Why wouldn't that happen?
You need to be a better leader, because the environment itself, you're not leading. So the critique, and I got that. Why are you not speaking? Why are you not grabbing the reins of this room? And it's actually a very deliberate leadership choice, because every voice needs to be heard here.
Absolutely. It's servant leadership. That's a whole nother thing, but it is coming that I'm not here to rule the church. I'm not here to be the quick, decisive person all the time unless needed. It's a collaboration.
And that's not only the consciousness of the person who is the minister, it's raising the consciousness of the collective. He's not talking. He's not saying anything. He's not leading. And then nothing happens. It's creating a safe enough environment where you can say, I don't really have this all worked out, but I'm going to share on a podcast. I'm going to share in a meeting because my voice has value, even if I haven't worked it out yet. So that means getting really comfortable with silence, which I find is a feminine quality. Stillness. Nobody's talking right now. That's a good place to be. That's a place where wisdom comes.
Well, wisdom. We talked early in the pre-show that we certainly don't want to leave the mystery out. And embracing them. I always used to say this. You gotta be kidding me. We don't have it all figured out. It's not. I just said this for years and years when I was in the evangelical church. Or I spent most of my life there. I always knew in my heart and everything I taught and I was taught, the Holy Spirit, that untouchable, that ungraspable,
that divine feminine
thing.
Quality by Christian mysticism.
That's right.
Yes.
It's a feminine. Was always the red-headed stepchild. It never was really, it was acknowledged.
Because it's formless. You can't,
How did she get in here?
You can't make a blonde, blue-eyed, Holy Spirit like we did with Jesus. So,
it's also
not marketable.
uncontrollable.
That's it right there.
There's the key. You can't, if you're filled with the Spirit and you are moved by the Spirit and by God, I don't really know what that's going to look like. Okay. And
so this doesn't mean a more activated faith.
Yeah.
I have to trust God. God's speaking, and I don't agree with what that person across this table is saying. I have faith that the Holy Spirit is putting it into the arena for all of us to discuss it. So is it that the fear I talked about earlier, we're afraid of losing control? I need to control because God is not in control.
Yes. So if I have an emotion of anger really strong, which terrifies me, because it makes me feel so out of control.
Okay.
And we were taught that it was bad. I don't know if y'all get to have that emotion. But I always felt tremendously guilty and ashamed if I felt angry, but it's an energy. And the same as I'm growing into that and allowing that to exist.
That's great.
And not running from it, the tenderness, the compassion, that to say as a man, I'm disappointed or I'm hurt or those kind of things. And what I know I'm using actual literal examples, but this moves on up.
Oh, sure it does. Yeah.
to the ideas and the leadership and the running
Absolutely.
of things.
Trickle up economics.
Yes.
Spirituality.
1,000 points of light.
No, you're exactly right.
No, that's 1 point of light becomes 1,000 points of light. And I need to be the change. Again, I'm looking at self-inventory. I want to change the environment of the organization. I need to be willing to be uncomfortable and to dig deeper into my own faith.
Yeah,
and that's going to mean that my priority has to be put in there, and relationship. So when I, as a leader, I look, relationship is more important than me being right or getting my way. That's not easy. That is the death. That is the phoenix and the ashes and all burning at the core. No, I need to control everything.
And we have to live through that disapproval because you're not doing it right. This isn't the way we've done it. No, the minister did this or the leader did then. No, we're doing it different.
So
really.
We create an environment where relationship is the priority.
Absolutely.
And it's easy.
Because that's what matters at the end of the day.
Relationships, of course. And the default, when things don't quite, quote, go right, then the default will come into that it's doggone, freaking females. They want to come in here and they want to change things and they want to do things differently. And we talk about this all the time at the church, in any environment. If we aren't willing to move into a realm of unknown, that we have to give up the certainty that we feel we're trying to land the plane on, that we're trying to get to, and say, we don't know, like you were talking about earlier. We don't know, but you know what? We know this is right. We know this is the right thing because why? It resonates in our heart, in our spirit. It's relationally strong.
And it won't resonate, though, if we're not open and receptive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to ever feel like it feels right because I'm already put up my wall and nothing's getting in here. I'm protected and safe. I'm smarter than anybody else in the room.
And it's a human condition, male, female, masculine, female. We all want to feel safe.
Yes.
And
that's a great.
And I've heard you speak about this. You bring up change and people are like, if it affects them and they have to do something differently, but it's going to be a long while where we're doing what's unpopular. We're saying what's unpopular. We're having people tell us we're doing it wrong. That's
nicely
the call.
Or not
that's
nicely.
the challenge. Can you take it? Can you take being called wrong or different or?
Can you channel the inner Christ is what you're talking about. The guy came in and rocked the world that needed to be changed, needed to be shifted, and he put it out there. And he was willing to take the slings and the arrows and the attacks and the eventual crucifixion. Again, there's a death there. And as a result of the willingness of that death, the Christ was now given life, a new love, a new life, a new understanding of what can be. He changed the face of the planet forever. Now, we can debate about whether he actually died or not, but that's another podcast.
We're not going there. Okay.
But the reality is that something came from the willingness to challenge the authority.
Yes.
And our authority that messes us up is just this silly adverse ego. It's not Pontius Pilate. It's just
there is a Pharisee in me that kicks and screams.
It's going to manifest itself in physical as well as in the internal work that it's going to do on a consciousness, as well as the outward relational, physical ways. And we talked about this earlier, but would you agree that I'm asking now, both of you, is it a combination, whatever's going to start to take place, will it be both organic, and we like to think it could be organic because it's natural and it's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be and it feels right.
But it's messy when it's organic too.
Yes, it is. So how much do we marry the organic, or do we, this is the question, with a strategy, a strategic way to start to say, we need to start thinking differently, gang. All right. And here's some of the ways. In other words, we can't just be passive about this being so natural. How do we enter into the arena?
The ideas need form. Left and right brain must be in partnership. The heart and the head, the brain must be in partnership. One without the other is dead. So love, we teach this in the unity movement. Love without strength is codependent, and it's a mess. Strength without love is going to tear things apart. We have to call that balance within ourselves for the light, the love, the Christ of us to be expressed. And I believe that's the same. Do the internal work and then call for that balance in the church, in the family, in the organization.
So do you think from the feminine side, this is personal now, you're going to speak for every female, right? But from the feminine side, can there still be an allowance? Because structure, planning, focus, those are fairly masculine type words. Can we strike the balance and say some of those are still needed?
Oh, absolutely. Because he mentioned different ones. And I'm actually a planner and I'm very future thinking. And it is that balance. And he used the example of strength and love. And I'll use the example of wisdom, which is a masculine, and love, which is the feminine. And the thing is discernment, planning. We have executive functions. This whole executive function, you know what that's about? It's about seeing what's ahead of us for our well-being. We couple that with that love and compassion and harmony. There has to be a merit.
Damn.
Yes. And it's beautiful and it works out and Charles Filmer talked a lot about that. What is it? Wisdom without love becomes something else, like judgment, and love without wisdom becomes something very uncontrollable and undisciplined.
Yeah, I've been in those meetings where wisdom ran and there was no love there, and it was like, suck the life out of this room.
Yes.
And then the love, where it was like, can we make a decision? Can we put some structure or some wheels on this?
Right, because you can collaborate for so long, and that's needed. Come on. It's like the French, you know how the French have meetings? They have meeting after meeting, day after day, and they never come to a decision. It's just part of their culture. But we're from a different...
We're not that in our culture. No, not hardly, right?
You can talk yourself.
Get her done.
Yeah.
We're both going, everybody, not both, just everyone is going to be prone when something comes across our own personal field that doesn't resonate with the way we've always done it. We're going to be prone to go, there we go again.
Yep.
All right. And it's those kinds of attitudes, it's those kinds of perspectives that I think we have to be cognizant of, that we have to lay them down, that it's going to create a better world. It just will if we're, number one, aware, and number two, have some tools, that some things that we've been taught, that we've heard about that's different. Okay, I'm bought into that because it's going to make the right kind of difference.
And can we just make altruism cool again?
I mean, what do we used to say in the old podcast? There's a meme.
Yeah, there's a meme. So I want to land this plane.
Yep.
What can we do? What can I do? I want a listener to not go away with, okay, I got a bunch of ideas. What do I do in my life to facilitate this, to flow, to get to that place?
What is it? What is a great question? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to start with my question that's on every podcast is self-inventory. Where am I coming from?
Okay.
Am I in balance? And what can I do? And meditation is what I use. Music is what I use to get myself in balance, and regular time away from the environment to remember who I am.
Okay.
And I agree with the consciousness things, but here's the thing. Richard's in a position, I'll be in a position to be examples of this, to show people how, because that's going to be the big question. How do we
sure it is.
live into this fully? How, and give everybody that freedom to dance back and forth between do, be, which is masculine and feminine. It's the song. And just ask yourself, it's been 3 days, I'm exhausted. Where am I at? I'm doing. I'm doo-doo.
There's a lot of doo-doo happening right here.
Yes, all the above, and a critical component to this as we kind of wrap this up, and that's this, that you do need to find resonance outside of yourself. It is not demeaning those people that you don't have resonance with, but as these things shift, look throughout history. Look at Jesus. Let's go back. Yeah. Look at Jesus. He had 12 knuckleheads that he had to teach and love on, but he found resonance, not just with the 12, but his followers. And you're okay with some aren't going to be. He had to let the rich young ruler walk away.
He had to fix, Peter knocked off somebody's ear and he had to fix it. Right. I mean, he just cut off it. Yeah.
It's going to be some of that rough edge stuff you were talking about, but we have to be willing to get our antennas up and find those that will resonate with us in this reformation, in this resurrection.
And I'm going to add just a component to that.
Yeah.
Find those that we don't resonate with and find the ability. Be the one who creates the ability to look beneath the surface.
Sure.
And to find the, and that's hard.
Oh,
that
yeah.
means I'm going to suspend being right. I'm going to suspend my judgment and just be present.
I agree with that. I think it's a balance of both, because that'll be a longer process a lot of times.
Yeah.
It'll be a harder process. You also need your people.
Yeah,
you
you need your
of
people.
that.
But you need those other people not to think of them as being other people, no matter what their religion. And we're having an interfaith dinner coming up, their politics. I never knew what anybody's political views were for the longest time. And I was thinking, what a blessing that was.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now when I come across somebody and maybe we have different thoughts or feelings, I'm like, we are just like I am with men. I have more in common with you than what is different. And with somebody that's politically different than me, or I have much more in common.
Beneath the surface of the label.
Yes.
There's something more deeper and profound going on here. I need to be the one who finds it.
So here's the takeaway, right? Here we are. We're wrapping this up. We'd love to have you. I want to get your final thoughts on this as well. And that's that there's the friction. We know there's friction in this whole conversation. And so within it, there's going to be some friction that's going to manifest, and then we're going to move past it. We're going to appreciate it. It's either going to rectify or it's going to be part of the equation. We're going to enter in a new friction. And as we continue to move in through this thing, how do we adopt an attitude of the heart and an attitude of the consciousness that says we're unified in this, we're all in it together, and I'm committed in my infallibility, not infallibility. Let's do it together. Let's go, because it's the right thing. What do you think? Let's wrap us up.
We absolutely have to deprogram ourselves first with this idea of otherness and division, or higher or lower, and our ways of thinking. Because guess what? We might see a different way, but we're just as stuck in that old system too.
Sure.
So we got to pull ourselves up out of the mud first, and then it's encouraging others. Do you realize how much disillusionment you live in day to day, and how the media and that kind of thing? And it's not anti that. But it's the ultimate hope. And I'm not even talking about those. We were doing a paper on Brook Farm. It was one of these communes they set up where everything would be hunky-dory. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about, let's turn down the hate. Let's turn down the division. And maybe one day we'll stop saying masculine and feminine. We'll just say humankind. And that implies we're both.
We'll leave it on a human rev. Last thoughts?
No, those are some good thoughts to end on. Thank you so much for joining us and shadowing me today. More to come, though. We got a big class tonight.
So thank you. Thank you for being with us. I learned from you. I love your perspective. I love the heart that says you're committed to where this is going. And that's going to make a difference in your congregation, for those that you're going to serve and that you're going to live life with. Thank you for answering that call. I think it's amazing.
Thank you for giving me a platform to share my voice and my opinions. I didn't even know I had till we started.
That happens every week on this podcast.
It's anything.
It's the norm. All right. So thanks so much. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. Pass this along to others. Wrestle with it a little bit. And hopefully we've been able to bring value, and catch us again next week. Thanks again. Take care.